Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is Liz Loves Books. As you can see, I am in a different setup. I am currently dog sitting for a family for the next few days, so I figured I would just bring my tripod here. Surprisingly, they have a fun lamp that has different lighting settings, so I was like, wow, that works perfect. So I am here dog sitting for three different doggos, and one of them is sleeping next to me snoring right now, so sorry if you can hear that, but we gotta do what we gotta do. And so today I am here to film the Where My Lore Started book tag. I was tagged by Maya Papaya Reads. I will tag her down below. And then the tag was created by Carrie Can Read over here on YouTube as well. So I will also tag her down below. But let's just get started. This is just a really fun tag. Yeah. So the first question, I'm looking at my computer down here, is what's the first book you remember reading by yourself? Now, I read so much as a kid that I don't remember the exact book, but I remember always reading the Magic Treehouse book series, which, if I look up, it's originally by Mary Pope Osborne. That's right, that was her name. I remember reading those all the time because they're super quick and short. And you just followed these two, I believe they were siblings if I remember right, into these different magical worlds. I remember the first book is Dinosaurs Before Dark, so they go into like a prehistoric world. So I remember reading those really, really early on. And then question 2, what character did you most identify with in elementary school? Now, I tried to think about this question ahead of time, and I don't think there was a specific character I really identified with because I didn't really have, the need to experience that throughout elementary school. So that one I didn't really have an answer for. And question number 3 is, what was your elementary school comfort book? Now, these were probably a lot of different ones. Early elementary school, of course, was the Magic Treehouse books. But then as I got further through elementary school, I, of course, read the Warrior Cat series by Erin Hunter. Shout out Maya. We both love that. And I don't even remember if this was all the way into elementary school, if it was maybe even middle school, but like the first Percy Jackson series. I don't even remember when that was brought out. And if I was in elementary school, let me see when it came out. Because if it did, that's my other answer. The first book came out, and of course I can't find it. Publisher date. 2005. Okay, yep, so that was June of 2005. So that was right when I was leaving elementary school. So I guess I could also say Percy Jackson and the Olympians book series. Big fan of that one. And then the next question, where or what was your safe space as a kid? Again, I was very lucky. I didn't necessarily need a safe space from places like home or from school. So, I mean, I went to the library a ton with my dad and my mom, but especially my dad. So I guess you could just say the library is a safe space. And I work at a library now, and that's still a safe space for a lot of people. So I'm just going to do an overarching one and say, if you need safe space, go to the library, no matter the age you are. Question 5 is, how has your taste in books changed since childhood? Obviously, as you get older, it changes, but I feel like I still have that love of like fantasy and fantastical stories, which is what I read a ton of as a kid. So like Magic Treehouse and Warrior Cats and Percy Jackson kind of, was the gateway, I guess you could say, into my love of fantasy and fantasy romance, if you want to extend it even further. Question 6, how did you feel inspired to read by your school, and if yes, how did your upbringing encourage reading? I mean, I guess my school encouraged kids to read. I feel like every school does that. It can be hard because you have like the required reading, but I was such a reader by the time required reading was a thing that I was like, okay, I'll just read whatever you give me. I don't really care what it is. And then, of course, my parents were giant readers. All my older siblings were giant readers, so it's like you just lived in a house where people were reading all the time. So it was just kind of like a daily thing. So, and then of course taking me to the library, doing like summer reading programs at the library. And both of my grandparents on my mom's side were teachers. So, and one of them was an English teacher. So I also had that as well to kind of bring me up into reading. Question number 7. What book have you wanted to return to lately? Well, I've already returned to it, and that is the Warrior Cat series by Erin Hunter. I was able to get a lot of them secondhand from when I worked at Half Price Books, and I read the first book already. And it was just so nostalgic and so cute. I read it in a day because they're super quick, like 200 something page elementary into middle grade books. So that is one that I've wanted to get reading into lately, and I already have. So, question 8, your favorite or formative YA series. So I can't pick just one because that's impossible. I of course read all of like the really popular ones from when I was in middle school and high school, which was like the Twilight series, Hunger Games series. I'm rereading the Hunger Games series right now. I'm on Catching Fire. So that is really, really fun. What are some other book series that I had in high school that were like formative? I actually read a lot of V.C. Andrews in like middle school, which I would not recommend for a middle schooler, but I read them anyway. I just would get them from the library, and my parents would be like, okay, yeah, sure. So, those were like super informative and just kind of my love of like horror-esque novels, I think, because it's funny now looking, whenever she's at a bookstore or library, she's like in a horror section, which I always thought it was just like a contemporary book. There was that one YA series that was called, I think, The Marked. Yeah, the Marked series by, it was a mother-daughter duo, PC Cast and Kristen Cast. It was like a vampire YA series. It went on forever. I never even read all of them, but I read like the first 5 for sure. That was another one that I absolutely loved. Again, that was the time when, you know, vampires were huge, like obnoxiously huge. Alrighty, question number 9. A book you had to read in school but you loved. Okay, immediately, 8th grade, we had to read The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I know a lot of people had to read that book, whether it was middle school or high school, and we got to like spend the day in class and watch the movie, and of course all of us had giant crushes on every guy in that movie. Like young Rob Lowe, young C. Thomas Howell, young Ralph Macchio, young Tom Cruise, even though I didn't like Tom Cruise in that movie. But still, yeah, that was one that we had to read, and I loved that book so much. It was amazing. And they just actually put out like a special edition from Barnes & Noble that I got last year that was like black with the original cover, but hardcover and with gold sprayed edges, and then, or maybe it was silver, I can't remember. No, it must have been silver because the lettering on the sprayed edges says Stay Gold. So I will still recommend that book. I mean, I think it was published in like 1950s, I think. Well, I know it took place in the 1950s. Let's see. It was published in 1967. So my mom was 7 when that book was published, and it still holds up. Then question number 10, your weirdest favorite book. I'm gonna steal it from Maya and say, of course, the Warrior Cat series, just because they're about talking cats that live in the wild and have their own clans and groups. And it's just such an interesting little concept. So, question 11, if your 13-year-old self could live in a fictional world, which would it be? Is it different from the world you choose now? Oh, I would jump into any book. Well, maybe not any book, but lots of books instead of being in the world right now, because the world is a dumpster fire. But if I had to pick a specific one, oh, I don't even know. 13-year-old me. I mean, I read all the vampire books, I probably wanted to be a vampire, so I guess I could say the March series because she got to go to like a magic school. Those are really popular again now, so I guess I'd say that one. And then the final question is, there a newly released book you wish you had when you were younger? I feel like there's a lot of books that have come out now that would have been like less toxic than the books that I read. But a specific one, I don't know. I can't think of one, which is really weird. Newly released book you wish you had when you were younger. I don't know. We're gonna end it on that note. I don't know. But anyway, thanks to Maya for taking me in this video, and thanks to Carrie for creating this video. If anybody wants to film and publish this video, you're all tagged. Everyone's tagged. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in my next video soon. Bye guys.